Yo, what is up, guys? It's Pedro here, and today we got another Washington Commanders weekly stream, and today is a special one. Dan Snyder is finally gone after 24 years of torture. I mean, I wasn't alive. None of us were alive for all 24 years, but we've all been alive for one playoff win under the Dan Snyder tenure, and we're all very, very young. We've won two playoff games since he got here. It's bad. It's been terrible, and not only on the field but off the field. His treatment of everyone and all the claims against him, just so many different things. And that tenure looks like it's finally going to be over. There's still rumors and stuff, but it looks like Josh Harris will be the new owner of the Washington Commanders with Mitchell Rales and Magic Johnson. And then, there's still some rumors. I saw the Duke guy. So I think Darren Haynes from WUSA 9 said that that Duke guy, I forgot what his name is, but he put in a $7 billion bid for the Commanders. Still Steve Apostolopoulos out there, but I think Josh Harris is going to be the guy. It's been reported on. So we got Abdullah from DMV Sports Zone and Juan Gotti from Juan Gotti Talking Sports on the channel today. Appreciate all you guys both of you guys for coming on the channel. Should be a good one. Very excited for this celebration. How you guys doing? And Brendan, appreciate you becoming a new channel member. I'm going to have to update some stuff to make it, to add some perks for you guys, but appreciate that, Brendan.
Yeah, I'm doing well, man. I appreciate you for having me on as always. Boy Juan Gotti here. And yeah, I mean you already pretty much said it. Like it is as the new thing is it's a parade inside my city. That's the new main thing, right? So that's what we're doing. That's how it's the feeling. Because I mean, we never thought we would get here. And as you mentioned, bro, none of us up here has been alive all 24 years, which in a sense I'm thankful for, because I mean the last decade plus of my life has just been all dance out have been terrible. And as you mentioned, he has 2 playoff wins. Both of those wins, I wasn't watching football. I know 2005 when I was 2 years old. So let's be real, I wasn't watching football in 2005. Okay, so that this man has been terrible. We only had three playoff berths like that I actually was really a fan of, and really two, because 2020, let's be honest, that wasn't a real playoff berth. Somebody just had to win it. But two that we actually earned, 12 and 15, should have been 16 if Kirk Cousins didn't Kirk Cousins it up versus the Giants. But needless to say, the guy was horrible here. The worst owner in sports. I can go on a record in saying that. And it's definitely time, because he's relatively young when it comes to owners. So I was pretty much expecting to have Dan Snyder here for the rest of my life. And it would have been terrible, man. But I'm excited that it is officially over in a sense. It's not pen to pencil or pen to paper, rather. It's not that. But in essence, they have agreed to the deal with Josh Harris and company, Matt Johnson, to be the new owners. But I mean, yeah, of course, they're still going to say Steve Papadopoulos and the Duke guy who came out of nowhere. I don't even know what's his name. I don't even know how he has his money. I don't even know if that's a real thing. But I know the Canadian billionaire Steve Papadopoulos is a person that has been in the running. I feel like personally, it's just to let Dan Snyder have some sort of leverage to make it seem, try to get more money out of the Josh Harris group. But essentially, I think they're going to be the end all be all and the new owners. But even if they aren't the new owners, it doesn't even matter who it is. I'm just glad Dan Snyder's gone. It's already confirmed that he's gone, so we don't have to worry about that. But yeah, man, it's a new day, it's a new era in Washington, and I'm excited. Like I said off the air, man, give me Dallas week 1 at home, man. And if you want to see a stadium turn out, they got to do us right by giving us Dallas week 1. But that's all I have to say. And again, I appreciate you for having me.
I mean, Juan couldn't have said it any better. I never thought, for all my years of being a fan, I started watching the team around 2009. It was around Donovan McNabb, Jason Campbell that time. Never thought that this man was ever going to change the name. He changed the name. And then I never thought they were going to sell the team. And now it's basically 99% there. That 1% is just so close to 100. And this guy, like Juan said, will go down as one of the worst owners in sports, even sports history. All the allegations, the cheerleaders, scamming fans, sexual harassment, the stadium falling apart. It's just on the field operations, off the field, all the debacles, trading up for RG3, drafting Dwayne Haskins, may rest in peace, and just the whole situation of putting his nose in everything when he clearly didn't know anything about football. He didn't let the professionals do their job. And hopefully with Mitchell Rales, Magic Johnson, and Josh Harris, they'll actually let the guys that they hire do their job and just back off and own the team, because that's clearly what Dan couldn't do. And I'm happy, man. 24 years of misery. This man has done nothing. This organization, before he was owned, was known as like a worldwide, dynasty in the 90s. And 3 Super Bowls. People act like the Redskins they were a scrub team. The Hogs, no, there's history there. A lot of people right now, even younger fans, are probably thinking, how the heck is this team worth $6 billion? Washington, D.C., we're supposed to be known as that market, but Dan did so much. He could so much damage to drive this team down the ground, but he is gone finally, and our Dan Snyder rants are no longer going to be here for hopefully on this all different types of DMV Sports or DMV Sports channels. And I'm hyped, man. I really am. Yesterday I was going crazy with Naughty, and today I'm just finally realizing that Dan Snyder is no longer the owner of our favorite football team.
Yep. And of course, like usual, make sure to subscribe to both these guys in links in the description for Juan. Saw you got the new channel logo and banner, looks great. And then of course, sub up to be a DMV Sports Zone. They got Abdullah, Nati, everyone over there covering all these different sports. So make sure you guys go ahead and check them out. Let's say shout out some people in the chat. What's up, Todd? Appreciate you coming through. Brendan, again, thanks for being a channel member. King Sean, make sure you guys check him out. Gabriel, K-Dog, Todd again, Uptown Dre, B. Wilson. So Brendan asked what he's streaming on. StreamYard, it's pretty good. It's free. You guys can use it if you want for anything. It's pretty good. And yeah, I saw B. Wilson. I saw that $7 billion offer from DC native. I don't know how much I just believe that, just because of the $1 billion more than the Josh Harris offer is kind of fishy to me. I don't know. Maybe he did. I think it's Brian something or something similar to that. I'm gonna find the name, but I don't know. I don't really. It's only one person reporting it, Darren Haynes, and I know the Junkies. I think it's Brian Davis or something. I know the Junkies reported on it a while back as well. Maybe they're right, but it looks like it's going to be Josh Harris. And regardless, we know Dan's gone. I was still happy yesterday. I feel like I would have been much happier, though, if it all came at once. If it would have been oh, Dan Snyder is selling today and Josh Harris is buying the team, just because it was so drawn out, this whole process going from whenever it happened in November all the way till now. It was just so drawn out. So many. At first, it was oh, is he going to sell part of the team? Is he going to sell the full team? Is he going to back out? Is Bezos, Jay-Z, all these rumors that just kept getting so old, and it got just so drawn out. And I'm happy that it's over. That's that's the main thing. I'm happy it's over, and it's pretty much over. It looks like it's going to be Josh Harris. Once the deal gets agreed upon, they still have to approve it within the league, and that might take until, at the earliest that could happen is the May meetings, I think May 22nd. So still going to be over a month, but it's coming to a close, guys. It's coming to a close, and I am very, very happy about that. So we're going to talk about this for a little bit longer, and they're going to move on to draft talk. But I agree with you guys. I was thinking, I'm going to be Dan Snyder's going to be the owner of this team till I'm 50 or 45, 50, and then it's going to be his son. And I've heard his son's a great guy, but still, I just don't want it to be in that family. And I really, and you go back, and I was I never thought we would see Bruce Allen gone for at least for a while, and we got rid of him. And then a few years later, get rid of Dan Snyder. And now we'll bring in this new ownership group, which I feel is very, very strong with Josh Harris, who owns other teams, Mitchell Rails, who is a DC guy. He is the DC guy, founded a radio station. He has the connections in DC to make things happen for stadiums. And then you got Magic Johnson. I think it's a very strong group. And now, hey, we run it back this year with Ron and Martin Mayhew and company. We'll see how it goes. They're on the hot seat. They are on the hot seat because this ownership group, whoever it is, probably going to be Josh Harris. They didn't bring these guys in. So if Ron and company have a bad season, well, probably going to have a new head coach and maybe a new new front office as well. The thing that's going to be interesting is if they win like let's say they win 9 games, they go 9-8 and lose in the playoffs first round, then, what do they do there? Do they bring someone else in? That's the real question. So what are your guys' thoughts? And we'll start with Abdul, then go to Juan on that scenario. I think we all agree that he's definitely getting the start of the season and probably the full season. But then after that, what do you think he has to do to keep his job as the head coach?
It's plain and simple. You have to win a playoff game. It's not only good to make the playoffs, especially where the only time we made the playoffs with him under him was when it was by default. Everyone else was bad in their division, like Juan mentioned earlier. But yeah, man, you have to win a playoff game, especially all the fans are going to come back, even the older generation that took their fan card and threw it in the trash when they realized that Dan's going to be here for the long run. They see Dan selling, new fresh breath there. Stadium will be packed, merchandise and all, increase in all, revenue and all, and it has to be a playoff win. I can't really see a playoff berth keeping him because, again, it's year 4 and there's still no sense of urgency of improvement. And you clearly see other teams in the division, like the Giants, Dayball, year 1 they win a playoff game. The Eagles just won the Super Bowl, and the Cowboys are the Cowboys. So with us, we have to make sure that we're not the laughing stock of the NFC East, not just the NFL. So a playoff win, that's what I see as the hot seat for Ron Rivera.
Oh yeah, so for me, man, I couldn't agree more with that take, man. I personally feel like what Ron has to do is win more than 10 or win at least 10 games and get us a real playoff berth, man. Last year was the year for me where I felt like it was the time that Ron actually had to put his plan together. Remember, first taking over this team in 2020, he said it takes 3 to 5 years to change a culture. And it was year 3 last year, and that was the first year where I felt I had true expectations. The talent was good. We had a good draft for the most part, outside of a couple picks. The young nucleus was ready to take over. We felt like we had a quarterback. I know a lot of us was sketchy about it at first. I was in the middle of the trade for Carson Wentz in the beginning, but then as training camp came around, as I often do, because this is my team, so I want to root for them to win. I came around to Carson Wentz. I started to believe he could have been the guy, but I was quickly reminded that he is no good. Until Heineke came and gave us a spark. And I honestly think if Taylor Heineke never got benched, we probably would have made the playoffs, and who knows? Probably would have went to Minnesota and beat the Vikings. But that's neither here nor there. Year 3 for me was like the big year that I thought we were going to actually do something, and we didn't. We were still in the same realm of 7 to 8 wins. And I'll be honest with y'all, man. If Dan Snyder was not selling the team, and I felt like it was pretty much the same unit from last year going into this year, including Dan Snyder being the owner, my expectations would not be high at all. Because last year I put so much effort in believing last year was the year. My expectations wouldn't be high at all. I would probably put us right in the same realm of 8 to 9 wins. But now with Dan Snyder pretty much gone, I'm starting to believe in the Sam Howell hype. I think we have the talent on the opposite side of the ball, and hopefully having a good draft. I still think we're around that 9-10, maybe 11 win unit. But with the schedule being harder and stuff like that this year, I probably will put us around 10. And that's even good to get us a playoff berth. But yeah, like you mentioned, Ron's gonna have to get us a playoff win or 2, man. I would probably say 2. For him to be back next year. And Sam Howell, more importantly, has to show that he's the guy. And if he does that, I think Rivera will be back in the burgundy and gold for the future. And quite honestly, I know Ron isn't the best, but that's what I want. I would much rather have Ron just finally put it all together and fix it, opposed to starting this thing over again. I understand with new owner that's probably a real possibility, but I don't want to start over because we're not going. If we restart, I see people with Josh Harris buying the Washington Commanders more likely than not. People want to make the comparison to the 76ers because he is the owner and they're calling us the Washington process. As you know, the saying was trust the process. And with the 76ers, the thing is with the Sixers is they started from nothing. We wouldn't really be rebuilding if we let go around. We would just be retooling because our roster is already pretty good to really compete in the NFC. So we wouldn't be rebuilding. So I guess firing around wouldn't be the worst case scenario, but I feel like he's already built so much that I would much rather make it work with him than just start completely over with having a new head coach. Unless it's Eric Bieniemy and he's just so good this year that they just decide to go on for Ron. But other than that, I just rather have Ron just figure this thing out. Unless he's just too bad to where it's like you have to fire him. But yeah, most importantly, short term answer, he has to win at least 2 playoff games for me, to be like, all right, that's good enough, bro.
All right, for me, my standards are a little bit lower, and let's see what's up, Door Gunner. Just because we haven't won 10 games since 2012, so I'm not expecting him to go out here and go crazy. But for me, I would say if he wins a playoff game, I'm keeping him like guaranteed for another year because we haven't done that in 17 years. Like, so if he comes in there and wins us a playoff game, I'm keeping him. There's no way I'm moving on from a guy that has brought us. Will be my basically first playoff win since I've been alive because I was like 2 or 3 when they had that playoff win. So yeah, like for me, if they win a playoff game, I'm keeping Ron around. And if they win 10 plus games and maybe they don't win a playoff game, depending on how everything shakes out, I would still debate it, just depending on what other options are available. That's kind of what, because also, our division's hard. So, it's going to be tough for us to we're not going to win. I don't think we're going to win the division, but we could get second or third, even fourth and still get in the division for sure. We will see what happens there. And yeah, depends on the options for sure. And I would also not mind a new front office as well. Let's see. Joe, appreciate the $5 donation, says, hold down strong here in San Antonio, Texas. It's a great time to be a fan. I agree. And I'm excited to see how many fans that left are going to come back now that Dan is gone. And I know a lot of people personally that don't buy Commanders gear, Redskins, Washington football team gear in the last decade plus because of Dan Snyder. So I think more people go to games. I think more people will also, buy merch. And I'm interested to see how many more fans we actually get back, because I know there's people that are like, as long as that guy is the owner of the team, I'm not going to be a fan of I can't support that guy. But now that we have someone else in there, maybe we can get some more fans, and that definitely will help out. And yeah, if we get a stadium in DC, Gunner, that'll help out a ton. We need a stadium in DC. Maryland, it is what it is, but for me and a lot of other people, it's very far away. And also, it's Washington. You want that team to be in the city that it's named. So for me, I know other teams have, their stadiums in different locations than the actual city, but I think it hits the best when it's the city of the team where it's at. Like Washington, the Commander Stadium should be in DC, and I think most people do agree with that. So, we'll see what happens, but that situation will be probably come to fruition in the next couple off seasons in terms of where the stadium will be, and the new stadium will probably, be finished in like 2028, 2029. But Rax says, I see a lot of fans wanting a name change. Do you guys want to see it or no? Seen some fans hoping for Red Wolves again. For me, I don't know. It would be annoying to go through another name change because we went from Redskins, the Washington football team, to Commanders, and if we do that again, that's another name. Like, do I like the Commanders name? No, I do not like it. The uniforms are fine for me, but I don't like the name, but I don't know if changing it is worth it. And I don't know if the team will do that. I don't think they will. I think it's a very, very low chance of doing it. If it was Bezos, then maybe there would be like a 10%, 20% chance because he has so much money. But with Harris, him already owning other teams, he's building a stadium with the Sixers. He's going to have to build a stadium here. I don't know if he's going to want to spend that much money on rebranding. Also, I'm trying to think, and yeah, Gunnar mentioned it, but Keim said that you can only rebrand every 5 years. So don't think they're not going to rebrand, guys. At least not for the next few years. And if you don't like it, it is what it is. I don't think the name is that important. Like, I'd much rather have Red Wolves than Commanders or Wolves or even Warriors, but it is what it is. We're stuck with this name. And yeah, I mean, your guys' quick thoughts on that.
Yeah, so I don't want to rebrand because look at the process. It took almost 2 years for us to just get the name Commanders. I don't have a problem with the name Commanders. Like, is it the best name? Is it what I wanted? No, but then again, I didn't care for anything. I was fine being the football team. Because all I care about is the team, the players on the field, the coaching staff. I want to win. I don't care if we call Redskins. I mean, well, yes, I do. I wish we could get Redskins back. Let me take that back. I do care about Redskins. But if it can't be Redskins, then I don't care what it is. So anything that it were called, I don't mind it. I just want to win football games at the end of the day. Simple as that. And it's no point in changing the team name again, bro. That process would just take another 2 years. And I personally don't want to go through that again.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Juan here. Obviously, Redskins was the best name, but got changed, and I just don't want a whole new rebranding process. We have the Commanders. I mean, take them in, like Major Tutty. Like it's okay, man. Like as long as as Dan's not owner and we're not a joke, I could care less what the heck our name is. Obviously, we all prefer Redskins, and football team honestly was unique. It was just funny. But Commanders, I mean, obviously it's not the best name out there. But again, I don't think we're going to rebrand, especially since we just changed the name too. I just don't think it's going to happen with any owner.
Yep, and like a lot of people say, if you win, who cares? Who cares about the name? Like, I think a lot of the names in the league are kind of stupid. Like, the Packers, like, I know they have history there with that name, but it's the Packers. Like, it's just like you get used to it because they've won so much the last 30 years and early on in their franchises, startup. And then you got like the Browns. I mean, they're not good, but that name is just like they named it after an owner, like Paul Brown. So like the name doesn't matter too much. Yeah, it would be nice if it was a better name, but we're stuck with it. It's not going to change much. And if we win, I do not care. Like, we could be named whatever. If we're winning the Super Bowl, I do not care. So that's kind of it for the owner talk. Maybe if you guys have any more questions, you guys can put it in the chat. But very, very happy Dan Snyder is gone. A pathetic human being, pathetic owner, and just, yeah, I'm so happy that man is gone. The only thing I don't like is that he got paid doing it. He got $6 billion, turned his $800 million into $6 billion, and he's going to be able to live super, super happily and comfortably the rest of his life. Unless he gets locked up, which he should get locked up. So I'm hoping that happens, but because all the things he's done to people. But yeah, moving on from Dan Snyder, and hopefully I never see that man's face anywhere or hear that man talk ever again. We're still feeling the repercussions of his decisions now, and we still will feel the repercussions of his decisions in the next few years. It just is the reality of the situation, but he's gone. We bring in Josh Harris, Magic Johnson, Mitchell Rales. I feel like that's a very, very strong group, very well respected. And yeah, I'm excited for this new era that really is going to start probably in probably in 2024 is when it really starts. That's when this new ownership group gets its first offseason. Yeah, Magic is a face. He's not going to own a lot. He has a lot of money, but he's not going to own more than 1 or 2%. It's mostly Josh Harris and then Mitchell Rails, who's also a billionaire. And there's going to be some more minority owners in there as well. So now that we wrapped up owner talk, let's move on to draft talk. We are less than 2 weeks away. Less than 2 weeks away from the NFL draft, probably the biggest event of the NFL offseason. Commanders have the 16th pick in the draft. Maybe they'll be at 16. Maybe they'll be a little bit higher or lower if they, trade back. We will see. And let's see. Okay, yeah, Abdul, you're good. Abdul's got to head out in a bit. Appreciate you coming through after this question. So let's see. Draft. I guess since Abdul is heading out, let's ask him, what is your ideal pick at 16? And if you trade back, what are some guys you like in a trade back situation? We'll go Abdullah, then Juan on this one.
I mean, for me, obviously, it's defensive back. Joey Porter, that's my cornerback one. That's the guy I really want. And it just makes sense for them to take a defensive back. And it's not a defensive back, and I expect him to trade back and get a tackle. Not really. I mean, Ohio State Johnson, that's probably, I think, the guy that I'm looking at. But again, it's either defensive back and tackle. I don't really see any other position that they could, go ahead with. I mean, even at one point I heard Bijan Robinson at pick 16. That to me just doesn't make any sense. And even a quarterback, it doesn't make any sense at all. I think the safest pick to do and the smartest thing to do is you have to take your star defensive back. And if you don't find anyone in the defensive back, let's say someone goes earlier than 16, then you trade back and get a tackle. So that's for me.
Yeah, for me personally, same. I've been saying that we are going to get cornerback since like November. Now here's the thing with that. I made a video earlier that I posted at 3. It was about like the cornerback room. I feel like our cornerback room is probably the most potential room, has one of the best potential rooms on the team. From Benjamin St. Juste to Kendall Fuller being, an aging veteran. He's only 27 though, but he's the wild veteran. You got Danny Johnson, who emerged really he was pretty good last year. He signed a 2-year extension. I was screaming slot for Danny Johnson, but turns out he's a much better boundary corner. So I expect him to be a rotational depth outside corner. Then you bring in Cameron Dantzler, who I felt like was the best free agent move that we made, man, because had the potential there. Again, keyword potential for him is through the roof. If we could find a gem in him, that would be amazing. So with that being said, and then you still got Rashad Wildgoose, who was a rookie last year, who could be a depth guy. With that being said, that may allow Washington to then focus on getting a slot guy predominantly at 16. However, I personally would not draft a slot only guy at 16. I would draft a guy that's gonna be versatile. I know a lot of y'all are saying Branch from Alabama, who's a safety, but he can also play corner. That probably would be where I would go because he's versatile, and with us getting a lot of these other guys back, we are pretty solid at outside corner. We pretty much need a nickel, but I don't want to solely go for just the guy that can only play nickel. So getting a guy that could be versatile would be the ideal pick. So I'm definitely going corner. If we don't go corner, I would trade back also and probably get a tackle or something. But if they trade back and go tight end, I would not be mad either, because I don't think they're going to do that, because I feel like they value the tight end position highly, which, again, that's another group that has a ton of potential. The difference is the number one tight end in Logan Thomas, a lot of fans are giving up on. If you get a Dalton Kincaid or Michael Mayer, that is your number one tight end right then and there. So I wouldn't mind trading back if we can't get corner, but my ideal pick would be corner.
Yeah,
DB,
I mean
DB.
Yeah, DB. And Abdullah, appreciate Abdullah for coming on. He had to go, but make sure you guys check out his channel, or him and Nati and Evan and all those guys know all their channels. Go ahead and check them out. Link in the description. You're good one. Go ahead. So For me, I think DB as well is what I would probably do. I think at 16, I am going Christian Gonzalez. I mean, I don't think he's going to be there, but he's my number one. After that is Devin Witherspoon. And this might be a little bit of a surprise, but I'm taking Deonte Banks over Porter. And I know, again, that might be a little bit of an unpopular opinion. I think he fits more what we need, and he can play zone or man, and maybe Porter can as well, but he's better suited for man. And I think also Banks could play in the slot if he needed to. He could play in the slot if he needed to in his first year. And some of these other guys, Joey Porter probably could. I don't think he could play in the slot, a little bit too big and not as quick as someone like Banks. And yeah, so I think that would really work out for the Commanders. So my top 3 corners, that's the list. I think 16 would be a little bit too early for Banks, but it's not a super reach. It's not a super reach like Jamin Davis was. And I think, Jahan was probably mocked, like his average mocked spot was probably like 27, 28. So we did, like, even though he had a good rookie year, we reached on him a little bit. But Banks might be like 4 or 5. By the time we get to the draft, I think Banks will be in the top 22, top 23 of most mock drafts. But if we somehow traded back a few spots and got Deonte Banks, I would love that. If Peter Skrnowski is there, I know I'm mispronouncing it, but if he's there at 16, I'm taking him. If Paris Johnson's there and none of the top corners are there, I'm taking him as well. And if none of those 5 players are there, actually throw in Brian Branch, I would consider taking him at 16 as well. Might be a little bit of a reach. I think you can trade back and get him, but I would consider it. If none of those guys are there, trade back, get, if it's Banks, he could possibly be there. Brian Branch could possibly be there. Broderick Jones, Darnell Wright, one of those guys could be there. So for me, that's kind of how I see things for the Commanders. And yeah, that's what I would do. So if any of those 5 guys are there at 16, I would consider, besides maybe Banks and Branch. If you have a good sense of how the league views those 2 players and you think you can trade back and still get one of them, then trade back. If you think you trade back and none of those guys are going to be there, okay, maybe you take them at 16. But I think trading back is a good thing for the Commanders to do again if they want to get some more assets and maybe that getting more assets allows them to draft a linebacker in the 3rd round or another guard or center or something like that. So that's kind of why I think they should trade back if they can and if they are getting good value. That's always the key right there, is getting good value. I think the Commanders did all right last time getting some value. And if they could trade back again, get good value, and fill up some of those needs that they need. So let me know what you guys, go ahead and put that. If you guys are watching live, go ahead and put that in the live chat of who you want the Commanders to draft at 16. Maybe your top 3 or top 5. And if you're watching on the replay, comment down below your top 5 players for the Washington Commanders to draft at 16. And also, of course, if you guys are new, subscribe for Washington and NFL content. We got over 50 people in the stream right now. Make sure you guys sub up on the road to 11K. It is free. It takes 1 second. And yeah, it helps out a ton. So go ahead and do it. And also go ahead and hit that like button and that notification bell as well. And sub up to Juan and DMB Sports Zone as well. Both great content creators over there. So let's see. We talked about the top 5. Now, we could do a mock draft if you guys want one, or I can respond to questions you guys have in the chat. Brendan's top 5 is Witherspoon, Banks, Gonzalez, Porter, and Johnson. So I think that's a pretty good top 5. If we draft any of those top 5 in the first round, I'm chilling. I'm happy with that for sure. Appreciate you coming through, Brennan. DeAndre, man, appreciate you coming through. As always, it is a very, very happy stream. we got Dan Snyder out finally, and it's a new era. It's a new era. Now we're talking about the draft. So Juan, what are kind of your top 5 guys at 16? And, honestly, just guys you would take at 16. And then if none of those guys are there, then you would trade back.
Yeah, honestly, I don't have any top 5 guys. If it ain't DB, then I'll trade back. That's like the only position that I'm like solely focused on at 16. Other than that, I would just get out of the pick. Because we need linebacker, but I don't think there is any really first round linebackers then besides that, nothing else is at 16. That's why I feel like we sit in a pretty solid spot this year. Like 16 is not where I want to be. I either want to be really good or you might as well just be terrible. But this year specifically, since our team is pretty good already, we sit in a position to where we either draft a DB to add to already a promising group, or we get out of it and recuperate draft capital and then still draft a really solid player. So that's where I stand. I don't have a top 5 players or top 5 positions because I'm just only focusing on DB. And if you can't get that at 16, you might as well get out of it and get some more draft capital and then still select a pretty solid player.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I mean, yeah, check out Brendan. He's going to be streaming tomorrow, he said, maybe. But yeah, I mean, I agree with you, DB, but if one of those top guys are there, Peter Skornowski can play tackle or guard, maybe Paris Johnson as well. I'm taking him. I think it was I'm not going to say it's a mistake signing Andrew Wiley. I just don't. I wish they wouldn't have signed a tackle. I wish they would have signed a guard, and Andrew Wiley can play guard. So if everything doesn't work out, they can move, or if they do draft a guy in the first round, they can move Andrew Wiley inside and kick or put the guy that they draft at right tackle or left tackle. Or if they want to keep Wiley at right tackle and they feel good about him there, you can move on from Charles Leno. But it is what it is with them now. We're less than 2 weeks away. And Juan, are we still? I think we're going to be streaming on Juan's channel, right?
We should be streaming on my channel, but I'm not going to lie. I may think about going to FedEx Field if they have an event this year. I may stream from there actually, stream the pick there. So I mean, I could still do it, if I do go to FedEx Field, but that's if they're having an event, and we still could do the stream because that still be good. I mean, because we still could be live, be in the same feed, and be streaming from just a different location, to be honest with you. Because I mean, I streamed from FedEx Field for the game, and it wasn't that bad at all. And who knows, you may run into some people that want to see Pedro. We get mixed up all the time. So I mean, people always call him Pedro. So
yeah, there's people calling me Juan as well in the comments section. But it is what it is. But
yeah, I mean, so yeah, we're gonna stream. I just may be in a different location. Let me put it that way. So yeah,
okay,
we'll definitely be streaming here on my channel for the draft. And the only difference is I may either be in my room or at FedEx Field. Stay tuned to find out.
Yeah, and 13 days away. I mean, we're 2 weeks away exactly from the second and third round of the NFL draft. And annoying, the third round, we're gonna have to be waiting for that last couple picks for us to be done with that night, because our pick is 97. So that's going to be late, but it is what it is. Would have been nice if we had the other third round pick from the Carson Wentz trade. But again, it is what it is. It is what it is. DeAndre says, are y'all concerned that the Harris group will hit the roster too? Are you meaning they'll cut players or make moves right away? For me, if that's what you're asking, I don't think so. Okay, gut. I don't think so. I think they're going to let the people do what they need to do. So they're going to let Ron and the company do what they need to do this offseason. And then next year, if they keep Ron, again, I think they're just going to let them do what they need to do. And if they don't like what Ron did and we win 8 games or we win 9 games and don't make the playoffs, and he's like, I'm done with this. He's gone. He wants to bring his new people. He'll hire a new GM and then that new GM will hire a head coach. And then after that, hey, then maybe that regime will gut the roster. But I don't know. The roster isn't. I don't necessarily think they need to gut the roster, but it is what it is. I just think that Ron will get a chance. He'll get a chance this year. Maybe the chances are of him being the head coach in 2024 are probably lower than 50%. But all he needs is a chance, and that's what he's getting. And if he has a good season and wins a playoff game, I'm sure Josh Harris will want to bring him back. Those are kind of my thoughts. I don't think he's going to gut the roster. I think he's going to do what Dan didn't do and let the football people make the football decisions. And that's what we've wanted. Like, it's just like annoying when any big move happened ever since we've been a fan. It's like, oh, is that Dan? Did Dan do that? Did Dan, make this move, or was it actually the football people? And now we don't have to worry about that. We don't have to worry about, oh, did Dan make this move or not? Frank says, do you think we should get Eckler from the Chargers? Nah, I think we're chilling with our running back room now. I think we can maybe add Jerick McKinnon or draft a guy to be a pass catching back with Gibson. But I think we're fine at the running back position. I don't want to – the draft capital that we would have to give up for Eckler isn't the problem. It's probably like a 4th to 6th round pick, but it's the money. You're going to have to give him a lot of money. And, again, he's an older running back, and I don't think it makes sense. So, for me, it's a no on Eckler. And just run it back with this room, maybe add a guy, but I don't think they need to go out and go crazy on the running back room, like drafting Bijan Robinson at 16.
I agree. I definitely feel like there is no need to spend more money on Austin Eckler. If you're planning on buying a running back that's going to be expensive, you might as well just re-up on Antonio Gibson, because we still barely scratched the surface with him. He still has a lot of potential. So I don't think it would be smart to get Austin Eckler. You already got Brian Robinson, Antonio Gibson going into his final year of his deal. They probably would draft the guy in later rounds, but they do think highly of Jonathan Williams, which I feel like Jared Patterson is better than him. And I feel like Jared Patterson, as you guys already know, I feel like he should be the one getting the shine. But, it wouldn't make no sense to go ahead and get Austin Eckler. That's crazy.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm trying to think of what else. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and put that in the chat. Where do you want the stadium to be, Maryland or DC? I know you don't want to be in Virginia.
Yeah, I mean, probably – realistically, for personal reasons, I would love it to be exactly where it's at, because I mean it's so close to my house. But it should be in DC. Probably it need to be somewhere downtown, bro. That's Washington. Washington. I was about to say Redskins. Washington Commanders. Why is it in Maryland or why is it in Virginia, bro? It should be in DC. That's the name of the team. So honestly, it should be downtown somewhere, but more likely than not, it will be in Virginia or Maryland somewhere, but probably Virginia. But personally, I would love it to be in Maryland, well, at least in PG County, because it's so easy for me to access. But it should be in DC if we're being realistic. Like honestly, all unbiased aside, it should be in Washington DC. But
yeah, put it in DC. I live in Virginia, would rather have it in Virginia than Maryland, but my first destination would be DC. Put it in DC and have all of our, teams would be basically in DC. The Nats are in DC, the Wiz and the Capitals are in DC as well. I mean, none of them are good right now. But, this is a bad time, honestly. I mean, it's sad. The Commanders might be the best team in DC right now.
The Defenders are, but I mean, I know we probably aren't counting them, but they.
I mean, the Defenders, yeah, but I mean, XFL, it's cool that they're winning, but they're not like a major sports league. If you know.
Yeah, I know, but the thing is, it's like, I would love it to be in DC because that's where it belongs. But it's like there's nowhere to put it. Like, where are you gonna do it? I know, build it on the ORFK site. That is no longer the property of the Washington Commanders. That is the property of Washington DC, and I don't think they're going to do anything with that. They're just probably. I think they're already making plans to turn that into like some type of like townhome community or some apartment complex, something like that. So I don't think it's gonna go back on the grounds of RFK. And then where are you gonna put it? Like, there's nowhere I don't think in DC that you can put the Washington Commanders Stadium. Like,
Yeah.
all
I mean,
go ahead, my fault.
sorry, I saw. I mean, I think Khan was talking about like there are some hurdles for it to go to RFK, but like it could still happen. So we'll see there. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. Like, there's not a lot of space, but maybe they could find some space. There's space in Virginia, or they could just run it back and keep it in Maryland and have it in FedEx Field.
Yeah, I mean that. Yeah, that's a possibility too. Just build it on FedEx Field grounds or right beside it. But I mean, it's like in DC is where it belongs, but it's like Audi Field. You just built Audi Field not too long ago, so that's that the soccer team's taking up, space. Where are you gonna put it? Like, I don't. And if anybody can drop, if they have any open space in DC, like for a state, you gotta think about like it's already so much traffic in DC with just being a city in general. But then the Capitals and the Nationals, the Wizards, they already have a ton of traction drawing towards these. So much traffic would be crazy. So you gotta already like take that into account. I don't know where you would put a stadium. So I personally think it's probably going to end up in Virginia somewhere, which I really hope it doesn't. Like, just not even just because I don't want to have to go that far, which Virginia is not that far at all. It's not like crazy far, but it's just like Maryland is already like weird because it's not like we're not the Maryland Commanders, we're Washington, but just putting it in Virginia will make it even more worse. Like, I don't know, but we still are 4 years away from that. But I know the new owner, they need to start making plans for it now because I know it takes at least like 4 to 5 years to even build a stadium. So they should start making plans for it, even if not this year, next year for sure.
Yeah. Rack says, what if he took Michael Mayer in the first? I wouldn't love it, but it is what it is. I like Dalton Kincaid better than him because he actually does more with the ball. Like, Michael Mayer is going to be good, but like, and it's just highlights. I haven't watched film of him, but it just seems so basic. Like, he doesn't offer a lot after the catch, and that's what I want with a tight end. If you're going to draft one of the first, I want an explosive guy that can, do things with the ball in his hands. And Michael Mayer is a good blocker and a good, pass catching tight end as well. But I think Dalton Kincaid's just a little bit better at that, and that's what I want in my tight end. If I'm drafting one of the first, I want a guy that can get me 1,000+ yards. And I mean, I think Michael Mayer might be able to do that eventually, but I think Dalton Kincaid has a higher chance of consistently doing that, maybe getting like 1,200 a year. And let's see. Darrell Jackson says, what's the deal with Brian Davis? Well, reportedly from Darren Haynes of WUSA 9, he's put in a bid for the Commanders for over $7 billion. I don't know if I believe that. Maybe Darren's right, but it seems like it's fishy, right? Like, why would he offer $1 billion over the next highest bid? Like, he could have offered 100 million more and he would have gotten the team. $1 billion more is crazy. That's crazy. But maybe he has the money. I don't know if he actually has the money, but maybe he does and he'll buy the team. And if he does, hey, it's better than Dan Snyder. But I would prefer the Josh Harris group with Magic Johnson and Mitchell Rales over him. Brush the four. Yeah, I kind of agree with that. Like, I just don't really see that. I watch him, and obviously I can tell he's good, and he's going to be a good tight end in this league. But I just don't see that, like, it factor that's like, okay, he's an elite tight end prospect. Robert, he said, what's up, Pedro? Just arrived, and all I can say is hip, hip, hooray. Exactly, man. We're over. It's over, man. Dan Snyder's gone. It's not official yet, but it's happening soon. So any more questions, go ahead and put those down below in the comment section. And also drop some video suggestions in the comments, in the live chat or in the comment section down below. If you guys are watching on the replay, just video suggestions for the next 10, 11, 13 days until the draft. this last week's kind of been dry besides the Dan Snyder news, and so it's tough for us to create videos. But yeah, it is what it is. So appreciate all you guys for coming through. I think we're gonna wrap it up right around there, right around the 50-minute mark. Juan, appreciate you for for coming on the channel. Make sure you guys sub up to Juan. Also, Abdullah from DMV Sports. So make sure you guys check them out. Links in the description. Todd, this will be the last question. Is can they build it in Bowie or Annapolis? Maybe. I mean, Juan I don't know. Annapolis, maybe. But that's
Annapolis
is farther, like, right? Or further?
Yeah. Annapolis is kind of like Baltimore area. So, like, that wouldn't even make sense because those are Baltimore Ravens fans around that. That's like Arundel County, like near Baltimore. So that's like Ravens territory. Even though there are a lot of Commanders fans in Baltimore, that is like their territory. So it probably wouldn't even make sense. Bowie, if we put it in Bowie, that's not bad. It's not bad. But it's further than FedEx Field. It's kind of in that area, but Bowie isn't bad. But I wouldn't want it in Bowie either. To be honest with you,
yeah.
If you put it in Bowie, you might as well just build it on FedEx Field ground.
Yeah, I'm gonna defer to you on that because I don't really know. And yeah, I think we're gonna wrap it up there. David says, "Is there a linebacker we could draft in the first round?" No, like Trenton Simpson, and then what's the guy's name? I forgot. Not Drew Sanders. Jack Campbell. But those guys are more second rounders. But yeah, gonna wrap it up. Thanks for coming through. Appreciate you guys, and peace, man.
Peace.